Hello you beautiful ravishing people, this is Chris from TechSpert and I'm here with the fresh new Honor 20 Pro and OnePlus 7 Pro just launched within a week of each other here in the UK. Going to do a side-by-side comparison so you know how they stack up for performance, battery life, the camera tech, everything else you need to know. And don't forget, for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, to subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first up, just a quick apology, I don't actually know the Honor 20 Pro's UK pricing right yet because it is actually ahead of the official launch date. The OnePlus 7 Pro, however, starts at £649 here in the UK, rising to £800 if you want the absolute premium spec model. That's the 12 gig version with all of the trimmings. Now you can expect the Honor 20 Pro to come in a little bit cheaper than that. We expect it to be sort of £600 absolute maximum asking price, probably a bit lower than that if you go for one of the lower spec versions. Now stick these two smartphones side by side and the Honor 20 Pro actually looks pretty piddly, but it's really not. It's actually a pretty big handset. It's 6.26 inches. But the OnePlus 7 Pro is the absolute Godzilla of smartphones. It's got a 6.67 inch screen. So as you can see, it makes anything else look frankly tiny. Thankfully, they both do have a front fill-in display as well. Just a tiny little pinhole camera here on the Honor 20 Pro, intruding on matters. And it's actually a pop-up camera here on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Let's just see that in action because it is pretty damn cute. Oh, he pops his little head up when he's needed. And then as soon as he's no longer wanted, off he buggers. Because whatever your choice, these phones are both basically an absolute handful. Good luck reaching all the way up to that notifications bar. Thankfully, you don't quite have to do that because you do get a bit of help on both these handsets. You get proper one-handed mode here on the Honor 20 Pro. This works for all your apps and everything as well, which is an absolute godsend. Here on the OnePlus 7 Pro, it's a bit more basic. You can basically drag down the notifications bar from anywhere on the display, which is definitely a big help as well. But unfortunately, none of your apps can be shrunken down, so you will have to fumble about. It's best used two-handed, to be honest. As for the rest of the design, well, both these smartphones rock a glass finish. Here on the OnePlus 7 Pro though, you can actually pick it up in this lovely matte style metallic finish. It is actually made of glass, but it just has a frosted element in there to prevent it from being really shiny and reflective. You can also pick it up in that shiny finish with the lovely almond finish as well if you pick up the limited edition model. Here on the Honor 20 Pro, it's just available in this lovely shiny finish. You can pick it up in two different hues, either purple or green basically. They've both got quite a dark finish to them and I absolutely love them. They've got this lovely sort of warped effect. It's like a gradient style finish more on the purple than on the green, but yeah, very stylish design all the same. Touch wood, both the Honor and the OnePlus seem pretty durable as well. I've been rocking them without cases and banging them about. They've been in my pocket, my bag, and so far no scratches or scuffs on those lovely sleek glass surfaces. As far as water resistance goes as well, you don't get an official IP rating with either of these handsets, but OnePlus is very adamant that the OnePlus 7 Pro will survive if it is submerged in water. Both of them work absolutely fine in a good bit of rain spray, however, so at least you've got that bit of peace of mind if you live here in the UK. Now, unfortunately, you can forget all about having a headphone jack with either of these handsets as well. You will have to go Bluetooth or use a dongly thing, God forbid. As for the fingerprint scanners, well, it's actually an edge-mounted sensor here on the Honor 20 Pro, which is very rare to see here in 2019. The Galaxy S10e is the only other handset I recall that having one recently. But as you can see, it is nice and nippy. You can actually just tap your finger to the surface, and as you can see, you're straight into your desktops. But it does double as the power button as well, so you can actually depress it in order to send your phone hibernating as well. Here on the OnePlus, it's actually an optical in-display fingerprint sensor, just like the previous model, and this is actually pretty responsive as you can see there. It definitely seems to be a step up from the last model, the OnePlus 6T. Very accurate, very responsive, no complaints at all. As you can see, it's very similar unlocking experience, nice and nippy on both these handsets. It's just a case of what would you prefer, a physical sensor or an in-display one. As for the display tech, the OnePlus 7 Pro is definitely a lot more premium of this pair as well. It uses a Samsung AMOLED display compared with the basic IPS panel here on the Honor 20 Pro. The OnePlus 7 Pro's screen is sharper. It's a Quad HD Plus resolution compared with the Full HD Plus here on the Honor 20 Pro. Because you can completely calibrate the colors and everything on both of these handsets. You actually get full support for the sRGB gamut here on the OnePlus 7 Pro if you want really nice, natural, realistic images. Otherwise, I like just sticking it on the default Vivid, which gives you some nice punchy colors. One of the first things I noticed about the Honor 20 Pro's display is the fact that it definitely leans towards the warmer color temperatures. It's all the more obvious when you stick it side by side with something like the OnePlus 7 Pro. As you can see, you get the same image up. You can notice these oranges and yellows, they are definitely a lot bolder, a lot warmer here on the Honor 20 Pro. Of course, thanks to that Quad HD Plus resolution, you will notice more crisper detail here on the OnePlus 7 Pro, and also it supports up to 90Hz refresh rate as well. It's in the 90Hz mode right now, which just means silky smooth experience when you're flicking through menus, things like that. It's an instant response, which you'll definitely again notice when you stick it side by side with another handset. And of course, it's great news if you want to play a title that supports 90Hz refresh rates such as Gear Club. So of course, if you are going to be watching a lot of movies on the go and you demand the absolute best visual performance, then yes, the OnePlus 7 Pro is going to outperform the Honor 20 Pro with the likes of the HDR support for likes of Netflix and Amazon, and of course that crisper detail. But you know what? The Honor 20 Pro is perfectly fine just for kicking back and enjoying some movies on the go. Full HD Plus resolution keeps everything nice and sharp, and on top brightness levels, no worries even on a really bright sunshiny day. Because when it comes to the audio, once again, the OnePlus 7 Pro is the superior device with its stereo speaker output, whereas you only get a mono speaker output here on the Honor 20 Pro. All that sound is blasted from the bottom firing speaker. So we'll just do a quick side-by-side comparison. So here's the Honor 20 Pro on top volume.
On a smartphone before, offering a next-gen shooting experience that is ideal for photography fans. If you're new to the Nokia 9 and it's in...
And now a bit of the OnePlus.
Boasts camera tech like you've never seen on a smartphone before, offering a next-gen shooting experience that is ideal for photography fans.
So as you can see, it sounded quite muffled and a bit crap, frankly, on the Honor 20 Pro, whereas on the OnePlus 7 Pro, much more clear, much bolder sound. Now let's talk a little bit about the software, and of course both of these smartphones are running the latest version of Android Pie, but you do get the manufacturer's own overlay slapped on top. So here on the Honor 20 Pro, you've got the Magic UI, and you've got a bit of Oxygen OS from OnePlus here on the 7 Pro. Now I've touched on a couple of the software differences between the two already, such as for instance the dedicated one-handed mode here on the Honor 20 Pro. There are plenty of other little differences between the two as well. So for instance, swipe right from the main desktop, you get your Google feed here on the Honor 20 Pro, and you get the shelf feature here on the OnePlus 7 Pro, which is basically just a bunch of widgets stacked one on top of the other, shortcuts to your favorite apps and people and things like that. It's actually pretty handy. I prefer that, to be honest. You get some decent solid customization options on both of these handsets though, and as you can see, you get the similar features such as for instance the screen recorder. Both of these blowers also have a nice bit of face recognition as well if you can't actually use the fingerprint sensor. Unfortunately, there's no raise to wake feature here on the OnePlus, so you will have to tap that power button all the same, whereas you do get a raise to wake feature here on the Honor 20 Pro. So as you can see, just lift the phone, recognizes your face, and you're straight into your desktops. It's very speedy and impressive stuff. As I say, here on the OnePlus, you do have to hit that power button, and then of course you've got the case of the pop-up camera as well, but thankfully, as you can see there, it's very nippy indeed, just like on the Oppo smartphones. Generally, you wait no more than about half a second between hitting that power button and being into your desktops. And of course, this is the one time I've said it and it just hasn't recognized me for whatever reason. Don't know what's happened there. Always when you're on video, always. There we go, boom, straight into it. I could spend a long time going into all the little similarities and differences, but basically I like both of these overlays just fine. I don't feel the need to stick on a launcher such as Nova as soon as I get one of these handsets. I'm perfectly happy with the level of customization and all of the other bonus features that you get built in. Of course, if you're big into your gaming, you're going to get more of a kick out of the OnePlus 7 Pro, and that's not just because of that slick 90Hz refresh rate screen. So the OnePlus also has a couple of built-in dedicated gaming modes as well. So for instance, it can optimize your CPU, your GPU action, all of that sort of shenanigans. You've got full notification blocking and everything as well. Great stuff. Of course, you've got the screen recorder mode, just as I mentioned before, and then you've also got the new Fnatic mode as well. Fnatic, which basically is the extreme gaming mode. What it does is it calls all of the background apps, as you can see there, blocks every single kind of notification and call, and just basically make sure that you're fully focused on your game, and especially good if you play the likes of PubG Mobile, because it calls all of the other network stuff in the background, gives you priority. Because when it comes to the actual gaming performance, either of these handsets will play the latest, most intensive titles like PubG Mobile with an absolutely perfect frame rate, no worries whatsoever. The OnePlus 7 Pro is the more powerful of the two devices with its Snapdragon 855 chipset, backed by either 6 or 8 or 12, a mighty 12, craziness, gigs of RAM. Here on the Honor 20 Pro, you can get it with up to 8 gigs of RAM, and it runs Huawei's Kirin 980 chipset, so one of its more premium platforms available right now. So yes, no matter your choice, the Honor or the OnePlus, you can play with the nice solid frame rate, or even on those high HD or HDR settings, absolutely no trouble whatsoever. And here on the Honor 20 Pro, you actually get the GPU turbo feature ticking away in the background as well. So PubG Mobile and a couple dozen other of the most popular games you can get right now just run with a nice consistently smooth frame rate, even on those strong detail levels, as you can see there. Looks stunning, running really nicely. Great stuff. So moving on to battery life, and both of these big blowers, as you would expect, have a massive cell stuffed away inside of them. So it's a 4000 milliamp battery in both of these handsets, and the battery life is fantastic. Got to say, the OnePlus 7 Pro, never seen that die before bedtime. Definitely does you well into a second day, as long as you don't absolutely hammer it with obviously non-stop PubG Mobile and the likes of that. And even with the gaming, it only ticks down about sort of 15% an hour with the likes of PubG Mobile, so really not bad at all. Here on the Honor 20 Pro, again, solid battery life. It'll easily last you a full day on a full charge. If you are finding yourself in a bit of trouble, as you can see, you've got the usual power saving modes and everything as well, just to make the most of your remaining juice, so to speak. Plenty of optimization options and everything as well. And as far as it goes on the fast charging front, the OnePlus 7 Pro is definitely the winner there with its new Warp Charge 30. You can get close to half charge in just 20 minutes at the plug, which is really impressive stuff. And the handset actually stays pretty cool as well, which is even more impressive. Here on the Honor 20 Pro, it does have the supercharge tech, 22.5 watts. Not quite as nippy, unfortunately, as the old Warp Charge, but still pretty damn good, to be fair. And no, there's no form of wireless charging support on either of these handsets, just as a cost-saving measure. As for the storage, well, both these handsets top out at 256 gigs. Don't know the exact storage options here on the Honor 20 Pro, but I imagine they'll be the same as the OnePlus 7 Pro. It'll probably be available in a 128 gig flavor as well. All of which shenanigans brings us onto the camera hardware, and as you can see here, it is a triple lens setup on both of these smartphones. 48 megapixel primary lens on both cases. Coincidence? But it's actually an f1.4 aperture, one of the widest apertures we've ever seen on a smartphone here on the Honor 20 Pro. As in the case of the OnePlus 7 Pro, it's an f1.6, bit more standard. Both of them have optical image stabilization. You then get a 16 megapixel ultra wide angle lens and an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, both with a 3x optical zoom, and again a bit of built-in OIS. So very, very similar on the camera specs front. They're even both using the same Sony IMX586 sensor, so yeah, they could pretty much be twins as far as the camera tech goes. Of course, if we've learned absolutely anything whatsoever from the Google Pixel phones, it's that the software has just as much of an impact on photo and video quality as the camera hardware. You do get a similar sort of experience on both of these smartphones, but there are some very different features and little tools as well. So for instance, here on the Honor 20 Pro, you get the AI scene recognition. If you toggle that on, it will just tweak the settings and sometimes throw you into one of the different modes depending on what it detects. So for instance, if it detects a human face, it'll shove you into portrait mode to give you a nice crisp shot of your subject and blur out the background. You do of course get a portrait mode here on the OnePlus 7 Pro as well, because there's a lot more basic here on the OnePlus, whereas in the case of the Honor 20 Pro, you can actually flick around, get various different effects on the go. Some of them are a bit weird, such as the pop effect or the folding blinds, makes you look like you're some sort of dodgy suspect in a detective noir film. Both these smartphones also pack a night mode as well, or nightscape as it is called here on the OnePlus, and that does a very solid job of just creating a nice balanced, well-lit, detailed shot, even in those low light conditions. Both smartphones also offer up a Pro mode as well, full manual controls, so you can tweak the likes of the shutter speed, the white balance, all that kind of shenanigans to get a very specific kind of results. And of course, as you can see here on the Honor 20 Pro, you get tons and tons and tons of bonus mode. It's a bit more refined here on the OnePlus 7 Pro. And if you want to stick it into video mode as well, you can shoot up to 4K resolution video on either of these handsets, but you can actually do it at 60 FPS here on the OnePlus, whereas it tops off at 30 FPS here on the Honor 20 Pro. But nice results either way, and you get some pretty decent image stabilization too. Now, if you want to actually see how the photo and video quality compares between the Honor 20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro, don't worry, I've got you covered. I've done a full camera comparison, so you can go check that out right now. It should have gone live at the same time as this video. So that right there is how the Honor 20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro stack up in a side-by-side battle. As I mentioned before, the Honor 20 Pro should be coming in a bit cheaper than the OnePlus 7 Pro. Still pretty premium specs all through and through, though. Decent hardware, solid software. So which one are you more tempted by? Definitely let us know in the comments down below. It'd be great to hear your thoughts. And don't forget, for more on the latest and greatest tech, to subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers!